Hi, it's Jane, and I am drinking yesterday's water, the banana with the coconut. It was so good, so I made another 32 ounces of that for this afternoon to drink. Um, yeah, I really have enjoyed that. But I thought I would show you some of the drink mixes that I had picked up today. And I had stopped at Dollar Tree. I needed some paper plates. And yeah, I do pick up my paper plates there. I get their 40 pack for $1.25. And then while I was there, I was also looking for they quite often have the little pads that fold over with Velcro. And hang on, let me go get it. Okay. They often have like these, they look like little coupon keepers, but you open it up and it has a little pad here for writing notes, and then it has sticky notes all over here. I like to throw these into my Bible study bags, and yes, I do Bible study bags. Like I have one bag that I use for my BSF Bible study, and I have another one that I use for a different Bible study for our Thankful Thursday group. And then I have another one for any other Bible study that comes up. So I like to have a couple of these for each one of those so I can make notes, or I can stick sticky notes in my Bible about some kind of reference or something like that may have learned with Bible study that I want to look into a little bit deeper, those kind of things. Also, it's great because if you're sitting there and you're talking about Bible study and someone says something about prayer requests, you can fill that out and you've got that ready to go when you get home so you don't have to worry about it. So, but not only that, but these make great Christmas gifts. If you find them, grab them. $1.25, they're not too bad. Generally, this is I consider is a great part of a Christmas gift that you may put in this, some pens. I don't know, maybe you found some real cute paper clips or holders, those kind of things, or even one of the other things that I like is those magnetic bookmarks, and you can get those at Dollar Tree too, and they are generally Christian based, and I do like to include those with these, the pens, and then even maybe some highlighters for those who do certain Bible studies. Not everybody highlights in their Bible, and I know that. I'm getting to the point where I'm okay with that, as well as writing in my Bible. So, but it's, if you wanted to include a couple of other things, and I am known, and these are, let me put it this way. When I do Bible studies with my groups, I am known for giving fuzzy socks, and I get those throughout the year for $1 each at Walmart. So I'll go get a bunch of different colors when I go shopping. I'll grab 5 at a time, 5 at a time. So I always have some that I can throw into it. So these are just simple, small things you can throw into a small gift bag to give out for some of these Bible study groups that you do, or if you're in any kind of group and they give a little gift at Christmas time or whatever. So those are some of the things that I did. But while I was there, I always go look at the drink mixes. I do. And they had a new one today that I've not seen, and that is the tropical lemonade. And it's pineapple and lemonade, and so I'm kind of curious what that flavor would be. So I did pick that up. And then Dollar General's across the street. Good Lord. That's a dangerous place to go to. And I did pick up some more drink packets there. So let me get these out. Now these ones I'm going to show you first are all $1. at Dollar General. And the first one is the strawberry peach. Never seen that flavor before. Sun-kissed lemon lime. And, well, Dollar Tree has a sun-kissed pineapple, but it's $1.25, and I'm cheap. So I get it at Dollar General where they are $1. Okay? Now, you know that they have the Weiler's Lights in the different flavors. And so I did pick up 2 of those. Now, these are not with where they keep the normal drink pouches, drink packets. These are on the seasonal aisle. And they also have the other 2 flavors, the pink box and the blue box. This is the purple box, which has pink wedding cake, bubblegum, butterfly dream, and cosmic superhero. Do I have a clue what they taste like? No. And these are $3 at Dollar General. This second one is the green box, and it's got kiwi lime, vanilla, lavender, and dragon fruit. And like I said, those are at Dollar General in the seasonal aisle. And, you know, they've got 2 or 3 aisles, so just keep walking through them, checking them all out. They also have this one in the seasonal, but they also have this one back with their regular drink packets. And that is the Skittles Tropical. And I've not gotten those flavors, so I wanted to try some of those. And the flavors are strawberry starfruit, mango tangelo, kiwi lime, pineapple and passion fruit. Not sure what the other one is. Oh, the other one's just another copy of the strawberry starfruit. So, I thought it might be interesting. I know back in my day when I was doing regular nursing, home health nursing, one of the things I used to do with my nurses whenever we had a staff meeting is I would present a different fruit for us to try. Like we did ugly fruit one week, we did star fruit one week, well, not 1 week, 1 month, because we had meetings once a month. And, you know, then we did Chinese grapefruit, because a lot of people have never had that. And they're huge. At that time, we didn't have dragon fruit. I can't remember some of the other crazy things. But it's always nice to try new things, you know what I mean? So today I'm going to continue working on my crochet. I picked up that last group there, and we didn't get too far. I think we got probably 3 rows almost, so let me get another stitch marker so I can put that there and know where we're at. And then we'll just get to doing some more crocheting and talking. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing. I was kind of hoping that the sun would hold out a little bit longer for today. It did not. It got really cloudy and it looks like it's about to rain. So that means inside work, right? And sometimes the inside work is crocheting or knitting. And I don't get to do enough of that, I don't think. So, and I will tell you, I was running him and his mouse, wanting to play with that, doing chase, that kind of thing. And I'd opened up a bag from the Dollar Tree, and he played with the bag and got his mouse and was playing in the bag. And then I came and sat down and we played a couple of rounds of fetch before Mama got tired. He never gets tired of the game. He could play that all day long, I think. And, you know, if I would play it all day long, I'm sure he would play, you know. But then I made a mistake of tossing it up this way. I don't know where it's at. And my mantle is so high that I have to get a step stool to actually be able to dust it when it comes time to dust it. So you can imagine I only dust it once a month. And, you know, before I would have done it once a week, but it's too high for me to do that. So I have a feeling it's up there behind one of the pictures. So it may not be, but for the life of me, I can't find out where I tossed it. And Ronan loves if I toss it someplace where it's a little difficult for him to find, to hunt. That is one of his favorite things, because he will get up there and just look and look until he finds it. Now, if he can't find it, then he does his little, he does a little meow like, help me, and I'll come help him. And sometimes, you know, I know where I threw it, but he just couldn't see it because it fell down a little bit. Generally, it just means showing him where it's at. He grabs it and takes it back to my chair here because he thinks that's where we're going to play fetch at, and that's normally where we play fetch. So, anyway, cat just cracks me up sometimes. The other day I'd put on, I don't know if I told you this the other day when I was chatting, and this might be fun for you to do. If you look at TikToks, I did tell you about the cats. But if any of you didn't see it, what it was is put in the search bar, cats meowing to call other cats. Let me tell you, these two went bonkers, looking for where the other cat was, where the intruder was. Izzy was all over the bed. She sniffed the phone. Finally, she bit my hand, and then she bit my hand like she's trying to pull me away from the cell phone. So, yeah. Of course, I replayed it last night, and they just looked at me like, old news. We fell for it once. We're not falling for it again. But hey, I had fun doing it. So that's been a little bit of a fun thing. Graduation. So many things going on with graduation. I have a friend whose husband graduated with a master's in theology from Westminster in Philadelphia, I think. Yeah, Philadelphia. And he didn't go to the graduation because he's like, my age, it's just graduation. No big deal. You know, so we were talking about graduation and how it's good that things are finishing, coming to a close, and how some of our kids, you know, for some of the younger people, mine are all grown and gone on, whatever, but some of those that have just 18-year-olds, they're just graduating and, you know, starting their lives, deciding what they're going to do, going off to colleges or whatever. They're doing trade school, or who knows, maybe they're not. Maybe they're have a job that they're fine working in, you know, like maybe they worked at a grocery store or with a landscaping business or whatever, and that's something they've chosen to stick with for the time being. But how hard it is to let our kids go, you know, let them explore things on their own, and how tough as a parent you have to be once they get to that age and you're trying to teach them responsibility. that you're no longer going to pay for the things that they want to do. You will do things like continue to provide housing for a while until they sort themselves out, and food, but that's, those are some of the basics that you're just not going to cover. For the rest of it, they need to get a job and fend for themselves. And I will tell you, one of my sons, one of the twins, he was awful about going to school. He would not go to school. So we got to a point where he quit going to school, so they put him in e-school, which it just gives kids a second chance for them to work on their own pace, so they can get out of school, then have a job or whatnot. And the fellow that ran it was a ex-principal, and he sat me down, and, they do this whole thing with you. And you double check, cross the things, and check in with them and that kind of stuff. And I was doing all that. But he said to me, since he is at this point where he's not going to school, what is he doing with the rest of his day? And I said, I don't know what he's doing with the rest of his day because I'm at work. I said, however, I have told him he needs to find a job. And he said to me, well, I'm going to give you some suggestions, and this is one of them, that while he is doing this schooling, not only does he need to get a job, but he needs to start paying rent once a month. Maybe it's rent for room and board. You can call it whatever you want. Draw up a contract with him so he understands that he does have some responsibilities. I said, well, my kids and they've had responsibilities. And I had told my child once that if he wasn't in school, he better be working. And if because I wasn't going to support him if he wasn't going to school and wasn't working. So he needed to be doing one or the other or both, whatever. And that helped Charles a lot with what he was going through as a teenager. Yes, he was 17 at the time. And he found a job and was doing everything. And so he was paying rent. And at that time, Thomas and I would put the rent back for, we were putting it back for him later on. Because we knew there would become a time when Thomas would be transferring from the area we were at, and we both figured that Charles wouldn't want to go. By that time, he'd probably be about 18, ready to be on his own, that kind of thing. So this could help give him a little bit of a head start. And not only that, but I think I've told you long ago, Charles, many times, he would come in and he'd be with his friends, and, he'd have money in his pocket, wouldn't pay attention to it. It'd fall between the cushions or back behind the cushions or under the couch or whatever, under the chair, that kind of thing. And he wouldn't know where it was. And at that point, he was a smoker. Thomas and I would not buy his cigarettes for him. And so he finally, he kept pestering us, and both of us said, well, if we're going to buy them for him, you have to pay for them. It's not coming out of our money. So he would pay for it, and, he would tease, keep the change. Of course, we kept the change, and we put it all back in jars or a box or whatever we needed to do to keep track of it so that he had that money later on. So when it came time that when Thomas did graduate and get his master's, and he was moving on to Virginia Tech for his PhD, Charles didn't want to go with us, so we talked with him about that and about the things that he needed to do. He could take his bed, his bedroom suit. We weren't going to take the futon with us. We had a futon at the time, which a lot of their friends, the boys' friends, would sleep on when they came over. So we told him he could take that. Place that we were moving to, had a washer and dryer, so we didn't need the washer and dryer I had, so we gave him the washer and dryer. And then we gave him that box of money that we had put back for him. And it was enough to get him first and last month's rent. And he'd already saved up enough for a month's rent. You know, he was just concerned and talking about borrowing money from us for first and last month's rent. And we had basically told him, okay, we got it covered. That's how that came about. So it's good to give our kids responsibilities. And I know one of my friends, we were talking about that this morning, and she had said with her daughter that she had told her daughter a long time ago that she would pay for food and for the house and that kind of thing, but anything else that she wanted, she had to have a job to pay for it. So, and I know parents that don't do that with their kids, and then their kids get older and they didn't have any clue how to survive other than paycheck to paycheck. So those are skills that we need to be teaching our kids. And we just had a lot of fun reminiscing some of the things that we did with our kids, you know, in the past. But, yeah. And then we talked about things about meal times around meals, you know. And one of my friends was talking about her son. They always had a rule in their house. They never forced you to eat anything you didn't want to eat overall, but you had to take at least one bite of whatever you had. And they'd grown asparagus this one year, and they were so thrilled that it had come up. So when they went and cooked it for dinner, their one son, you know, he just took one bite because he didn't like the way it looked, didn't like the way it smelled. So he took one bite, and they always asked him, well, what do you think? Especially since this was new to the kids, all of the kids. And this one son said, well, it was so good, I can hardly eat any more of it. So, you know, we had laughing about that and about my story of, you know, starving kids in China with that rice business. And my answer was, well, then send it over to them, you know, that kind of thing. And we had a good laugh about some of those things that we did and memories of kids, what they had said. I had told them the one story about my son, Stephen. I had been cooking, it was just hot dogs. I'd cooked hot dogs and macaroni and cheese. And let's see, we had salad. And then we also had another vegetable on top of it, but we had the hot dogs. So I'd gotten the hot dogs out and put them on the plate, set the table dinner, and then went to call the other kids. Well, Stephen was the only kid in the house at the time, and it was just a package. It was 1.5 packages of hot dogs, so probably 12 hot dogs. So I'm out yelling for the kids to come in, and, you know, finally I get their attention. They come in. Probably took about maybe 10 minutes to get them in there. But when we walked in, there was only one hot dog on the plate. And I was like, and Stephen's sitting there just smiling. And I said to Stephen, where are all the other hot dogs? He looks at me and he said, they're yummy, they're in my tummy. So the kid didn't eat anything else. He didn't want any macaroni and cheese or anything else. But the rest of the kids, the rest of what was on that table is what we had. We kind of laughed about the hot dog thing, and my boys were like, we don't have any more hot dogs at all? I was like, nope, no more. I'm not cooking anything else. This is it for dinner. So, you know, sometimes kids do some of the craziest things when you don't expect it, right? We are coming up. I need to stop this because I'm about to run out of battery. Hang on. So, yeah, those are just some of the things that we chat about. And generally, these are things that we talk about after we've done prayer. We generally meet early in the morning for about an hour when we'll read some kind of passage in the Bible. Sometimes we choose a chapter, a different book in the Bible and just go through it throughout a season. Right now, we're just doing a couple of the different Psalms, and what we do is after we read the passage, we talk about it. Was there anything that stands out to you? Was there anything you didn't understand? And then we just kind of talk about the generality of it and, what we feel is calling to us. And of course, then we go to prayer. Prayer is a lot about praising God and, then asking for things that we know that are going on around the world, or our families, friends, maybe church members. They're going through some rough times, those kind of things. So, yeah. But afterwards, sometimes we sit and we just chit-chat. And today we were chit-chatting about that, and also talking about the fact that one of the ladies has an issue with groundhogs every year, and they would like to see them dead. They'd like to be able to shoot them, but since they live in the city, you cannot fire a weapon. And so they trap it many times, and they have someone that takes it up on some mountain and lets it loose. So we had this big discussion about groundhogs and about their teeth. And one of the gals talked about the one afternoon her dog had they'd gone walking on the trails to rails here in this area, and the dog went up under the bush and got a hold of a groundhog and shook it and played with it and shook it some more until it killed it. And she said other animals, dogs, just, no big deal, get along with them. But both of them with groundhogs, they kill them, and they'll do whatever they can to get to them. And so the one friend that has a problem with the groundhog said, you can bring them over for the day if you'd like. Take them for a walk in the backyard. Because that's one thing that annoys them each year. And we tease because it's a battle for them with the groundhog. And they do a lot of gardening, and of course, then we started talking about that. There's that farmer where the groundhog's always bringing up his produce. I'm not sure if he's a farmer or just gardener. But the groundhog will pull it up. He set up a camera to catch who was eating, see what was eating his garden. And the groundhog now comes up and eats it right in front of the camera, almost like rubbing it in his face. And I talked about, from what I understand, this guy now has a web page or something for this groundhog so that he at least can get some money back and help pay for more gardening tools or that kind of thing, or to buy the produce that the critter's eating, I guess, out of his garden. So we were laughing about that kind of thing. And she was telling us the only thing that they've managed to catch have been this past week. No groundhogs, but they've caught 2 possums and a squirrel, I think. And she started laughing. She said her husband had bopped one of the possums on the head and it killed it, and he felt bad about that, you know. I'm like, well, I think I'd just let the possums loose. And she said, why? I said, well, because they eat the snakes and the rats and, you know, a lot of the pests that we worry about, those kind of things. So I would let the possums go on their merry way. They're really not after your garden, because they really are more meat eaters, so, or bug eaters, that kind of thing. So she's like, oh, I didn't know that. I said, yep, it's a good thing, and especially the snakes, because they'll take care of those snakes that are out in your garden. So you might want to consider leaving the possums alone. Chipmunks, you might have to worry about chipmunks. Nah, they're, you know, chipmunks aren't really bad, she said. Squirrels haven't been too bad because they don't really mess with that kind of stuff. So you never know what kind of conversations you're going to get in when you sit and talk with people and learn more about their lives and those kind of things. So, and I have a small group went last night for the first time, and it's one of the ladies at the church. They'd started this little thing where they go out to Ruby Tuesdays for dinner each Thursday night, because on Thursday nights, Ruby Tuesday has a special. And it's generally, I think it's for seniors, but I'm not positive, or if it's just the general special for the night. And if you look, Ruby Tuesday has specials each day, different kind of specials. So, and what it is for $8.99, you get salad bar, you get a smashed cheeseburger with French fries or tater tots, all for $8.99. So, my friend and I had gone and joined them for that. It was pretty good. Now, I overate last night, to be honest. Last night. Oh my goodness, it wasn't last night. It was Thursday night. You know, there are days that feel like they are just passing one by the other. Thursday night. So, I should have just ate the salad bar and saved the rest of it to have for another meal. Oh, I didn't. I ate the whole thing. And then, of course, I was miserable because I was too full. And, of course, my blood sugar spiked, so there's that. But, yeah, it was kind of an interesting evening. But we sat and we talked with a couple of friends and had a good time and got to know each other a little bit better. There are a couple of ladies that I don't know that well, that I just know them from church and from small little things, gatherings we have done, you know, just like an acquaintance type. So it was good to get to hear their story, get to learn more about them and their life, that kind of thing. And then at the very end, we talked about we need to get together and play some games. One of the ladies does a game night at her house anyway, each week. And she had suggested doing, one of the ladies moved here recently from Florida. She is our pastor's mother-in-law. And she recently moved here from Florida, and she has a dice game that is supposed to be very fun. So they're wanting to teach us all that, and one of the gals, the gal that has the card games at her house, she plays 5 crowns. Now, I've never heard of 5 crowns, and I said, well, I don't know how to play it. And one of the other ladies quipped up, she said, well, neither do I, but apparently I play it and I was winning. She said, you can learn. So it's just a great opportunity to socialize with others. And that's important as we get older, not to isolate. Because isolation is not a good thing. And it's good to get out, be among other people. So, yeah. So I'm trying to do that a little bit more and get a little more exercise in since this whole issue with the blood sugars. And they still don't have any idea of why all of a sudden I'm not I'm not able to get it under control. And I think what bothers me is I've not really changed anything about the way that I eat. I am more mindful of it. But like I said, now I'm really keeping big track of it in a food journal so that I can find out if there's something I'm doing, not doing. I do know that if you do not eat regularly, oftentimes that'll shoot your blood sugar up as well. So I don't know. I don't know if it's I'm not eating enough, not eating the right things, but the food journal is helping. And of course, the important part about using that food journal is you need to be honest with it. And sometimes it's like, well, maybe I should put that I had a salad and I had that salad and I did have that salad, but am I being honest? Did I only have 2 tablespoons of dressing? Or did I not measure and smother it? So, anyway, that's been a lot of fun. I am in the sewing room. I am working on taking a regular loose leaf binder notebook and making a cover for it. I have decided that I saw a prayer journal that a woman kept, and I liked the way that she had done it, the way that she used just the notebook to do that. So I'm going to give that a try. In the past, I've just used a spiral notebook of some sort, whether it's, one of those small journal type spiral notebooks, or if it's just a regular spiral notebook. And I would like to try a different method because with the spiral notebooks and even these other notebooks, it's hard to put pictures of people. Now, don't think I'm strange with this. There is one thing that I like to do because I like to also pray for our missionaries around the world that we sponsor in our church. And they have postcards that have their pictures on it and kind of the mission field they're in, those kind of things. And then we get updates. Generally twice a month, they'll talk about a different missions moment is what they call it. And so we'll get a little information and, that person will update what's going on with their mission and their status and the prayer needs that they have, those kind of things. So it's just the postcards are available for us with their pictures, so it makes it more personal. So you can get a picture of who that person is, that kind of thing when you're praying. And in the past, I've put them up on one of the cupboards, this big tall one that I have on the side. But I would also like to put it in that notebook because I'm one of these people. I like to mark when a prayer request has been answered. And some of the missionaries are very good about including in their notes to us, their letters to us that, to the church, that they, this is what they have done, and this is what transpired out of it. And yes, these prayer needs were met. They were met in this way, or they were met in that way, whether it was a yes and no or maybe. So, and what came of it. So I like being able to fill that in my prayer journal. And just thought that this other way might be a little more interesting to try. I don't know if the woman that did it is living still or not. This is a very old video. I'll try to remember to link it down below as well. And it was just neat. And the other day I was going to link the video of those bracelets, and I forgot to do that. So I'll try to link both of those today down below. Memories. Teflon brain sometimes, Memory comes, the idea comes in, the thought comes in, and then it's gone. Or the information comes in and then it slips right somewhere else. So that's kind of the norm for me these days. So, anyway, that's kind of what's going on around here today, this weekend. Supposedly we're supposed to have some sun again. A little less rain. So maybe I can get out there and whack at the bamboo. All right, guys, I am going to let you go for now. And everybody, have a great week. I will see you again soon. And remember, try to do something kind this week. See ya. Bye.